at very closely. We're looking at other models as well, but you can see that the organizational issues are quite challenging. Now, the other area that I think we have a great opportunity to deal with is enforcement. And enforcement in the securities regulatory area as well as the criminal law area is quite frankly, in my view, overly fragmented and lacks a great deal of coordination. This is a picture that encapsulates how I see, from the Ontario point of view, our Canadian enforcement mosaic. You can see at the top, all of those entities are responsible to a certain extent for investigating and prosecuting, and bringing to prosecution possible violations of securities laws. You can see at the bottom which forum those entities bring cases and proceedings for enforcement. And you can see by the lines different avenues that the top parties can assess and access. So one of the factors that we want to do is one of the things we want to do is clean this fragmented system up, have a more coherent approach, have a more streamlined approach, so that the market can better appreciate if there is a problem, when there is a problem, who to speak to, where they can go for redress, and what the remedies are across the various spectrums, whether they be regulatory, strict liability, or criminal enforcement. So on the second phase, and please bear with me, I know this is a bit dry, but I do want to give you a sense of what we're doing and give you a status report of where we are and where we have to go. After we do the Act, we have the transition plan. And so what we need to do is provide a roadmap, and it'll be a public roadmap, for establishing the Canadian Securities Regulator and integrating the current regulators and of the participating jurisdictions into this new agency with a common organizational structure. We have to find a way to respond to concerns across the country, yet have common standards. And this is a key aspect of what our job is and how tricky it is, but we're committed to it, to have minimum disruptions for the people who will be directly affected, being you. One of the things that we have to really focus on is having a sense of continuity and not have radical change from the day that we've started this initiative right through to the day that we unveil this new securities regulator. So how we're doing that is we're committed to build a structure to pour in the current regulatory structure that's on the ground now. So the rules and regulations, the policies and procedures that all of you are used to, and all market participants are used to, and quite frankly all investors are used to, the intention is to build a structure around those requirements so that there is not a change in regulation on the ground, and to allow the new regime, the new organization, to make the assessments of how to go about making change in the ordinary course, which of course in the securities area means with broad consultation. So finally, the next steps. We are engaged heavily, as I've mentioned, in consultations. We will complete the consultations and the analysis on the key issues for the Securities Act. We will complete the drafting of the Act. We'll provide to the Minister of Finance by the spring a proposed draft Act. We are also involved in retaining consultants to assist us in terms of managing the office and develop a transition plan. And through that period, we will again reach out to you and Advocis and other organizations for ideas and consultation, so that nobody is met with any surprises. And it stops there. So just before I ask for questions, I think it's fair to say the main focus, as you saw from the presentation, is on accountability. In my view, as I've said before, the CSA has been a very effective organization, and it has made some great strides in terms of harmonization. But now, in my view, it's time to move to the next stage, to have a more coherent, accountable organization to move more quickly and more effectively and more seamlessly to be able to respond to changes that may occur that are unforeseen, and to be able to meet the changing demands of the economy. And that's what we're hoping to do. And as I've mentioned before, the goal is nothing less than to build the best securities regulatory regime in the world. So thank you. Yes. Well, as I've said before, that's a question of jurisdiction, and that's something that will have to be worked out by the next, by the regime that takes over this entity. It's not our intention now to take over the regulation of insurance products, but it is fair to say that a lot of work has been done in coordinating the sales practices involved in all financial products. And so, securities regulators and insurance regulators are committed to working with the industry and within the current structure to have consistency, like in the joint forum point of sale project, and have greater harmonization. And our project will move, make it easier to have a more coordinated approach, but it's not the intention to change the jurisdiction over insurance products.
My real quick point was that the amount of regulation and compliance and what have you has kind of left it so that the small client is left out, that nobody can afford to deal with them anymore. Is there going to be more of that?
More of leaving clients out, or?
Piling on such a pile of reform, compliance and regulation that you can't afford to deal with those.
Well, in a way, it's a difficult question, but it's an easy question, and the intention is not to create more and more costly regulation. I think I do share the comment that was made in a question that was asked of Don before me, and that is, it's not necessarily a matter of having more regulation, it's a matter of having better regulation, more coherent regulation, more consistent regulation. Anybody with an easier question?
Hi, Larry. I have a quick question for you, and it's using